Salam Sejahtera, my name is Ding Hua Po, matric number S69933. Now I present the ICE individual assignment through the Microsoft Access. First, we need to create a table to enter the data from customer, inventory, sales, and sales inventory. First, we go to the create table and view, design view. For the table name, we enter customer. Yes. For the feed name, for the first row, we enter customer ID. Yeah. And data type, we use short text. For the second is customer name. Same type, we use short text. Third is a city. Same, we use short text. And four is state. Same short text. And for the last is credit limit. We use currency. After it, we go to the data view, data sheet view, and we save it. After it, we need to create another one for the inventory. Create table and view, design view. Table name, we enter inventory. Same. Feed name for the first is item ID. And data type, we use short text. Second is description. Same short text. And next is STD. STD cost, we use currency. List price, we use currency. For the quantity on hand, we use number. Same, we save. And we create another one for the sales view, design view, table name, sales. For the first is invoice. Type, we use short text. Second is sales date. For the data type, we use data and type. Sales person, we use short text. Customer ID, same short text. The last amount is currency. And same with sales. Now we need to create the last one for the sales inventory. Table, design view, sales inventory. Okay, first is invoice. Data type, we use short text. Item ID, we use short text. Quantity, we use number. And for the sales price, we use currency. After it, we need to make sure the customer view, design view. For the customer ID, we have primary key. And for the inventory, the item ID have the primary key, and same the sales, the item ID have the primary key. Now, I will start to enter the data from the customer ID, customer, inventory, sales, and sales inventory. Now I will start to enter the customer data. After we record the data for the customer, inventory, sales, and sales inventory, now we need to create a relationship for the four table. We go to the database tools, relationship, and add the table. We add all the table here, and before it, we need to determine what table are primary key and what table are foreign key. Now we know the inventory between the sales inventory, they have relationship, the item ID, we create that relationship. And we know the sales and sales inventory have the relationship in the invoice, we create the relationship. And the sales, in the sales table, the customer ID have the relationship, the customer ID in the customer table, we make the relationship. After it, we can start to solve the query. After make the relationship between the four table, now we need to solve the query one. First is for which item, they are at least 100 unit on hand. Now we go to the create a query design and enter the inventory table. For the first few table, we enter item ID, description, and quantity on hand. The criteria for the quantity on hand, we type equal a bigger equal 100, and we click run. Here is the data for the query one, and we save. For the second query, what were the item number, price, and quantity for each item sold on the invoice 103? Now we create a query design. We now include have sales and sales inventory. In the field table, we insert invoice, item ID, quantity, and sales price. In the invoice criteria, we type 103 and we click run. Here's the data. The item sold in the invoice 103. Now we solve the accuracy. Which customer made purchase from Martinez and provide the customer name and the salesperson. We create the new query, customer and sales. For the field table, enter customer name and the salesperson. The criteria will enter and we show the total because there will be some repeat order for the Martinez and we run it. Here's the answer. Now we solve the query. List invoice, sales date, person, salesperson, customer name, and the invoice, the amount of the invoice, who the amount more than 1,500. Show the amount from largest and smallest. Create a query. The table include sales and customer. For the first few name is invoice, sales date, salesperson, sales name, and amount. Okay. For the amount, short, we enter, we choose deciding because it is smallest, and criteria, we enter largest than 1,500, and we click run. Here's the answer. Now we solve the query E. List invoice, item ID, description, sales price, list price, quantity, and computer extension. Sales price times the quantity for the item sold, where the sales price is different. Then the list price, short by the item ID, deciding order. We create a new query. The table involve inventory, sales, inventory, and sales. Okay. Okay. Follow the question. They want the first is invoice, second is item ID, third is description, next is sales price, list price, and also the quantity. Okay. For the extension, we right click and view to type extension table, sales inventory, sales price times the quantity. And we click OK. For the item ID, short we choose designing, and for the sales price criteria, sales price we type smallest and bigger, list price, and we click on it. Here the data, here is the answer. For the query F, compute the profit margin for each item sold. Calculate the profit margin as sales price minus standard cost. Sales divide sales price. List invoice, sales date, item ID, sales price, quantity, and compute the profit margin. Short by the profit margin in deciding order. First, we need to create a query first. The data involve sales, sales inventory, and inventory. Invoice, sales date, item ID, sales price, and quantity are involved. For the profit margin, we right click and choose build, and we write up profit margin. We choose table, sales inventory, sales price minus inventory tables, then the cost, and divide the inventory tables, the sales inventory table, sales price, and we click OK. And for the short, we choose designing, and we click run. Here is the data, the answer for the query F. For the query G, compute the profit for each line of inventory. Calculate the profit as sales price minus standard cost, multiply the quantity, list invoice, sales date, item ID, sales price, quantity, and compute the profit. Sort by the invoice in ascending and the profit in descending. First, we create the query and rename. Table involve sales, sales inventory, and inventory. First is invoice. Second is sales date, item ID, sales price, quantity. For the profit, we right click, view, and product profit. We choose table, sales inventory, sales price minus the inventory table, then the cost, and we times the sales inventory table quantity. So we click OK. For the inventory, we choose standard cost, and we click no show. The short for the profit, we choose descending, and for the invoice, we choose ascending, and we click none. Here is the data, the answer for the query G. For the query I, how many customer living in Arizona? List the state and count of customer. First, we create the query table and involve only customer, and we know the Arizona, the short form is exact, and we choose the state criteria. We write exact, and we go to the view, write down the count of customer, count expression, we choose table, customer, state, and we click OK. And we need to total it, and for the total, we choose expression, and we click run. The data show there are only 3 customers. For the queries, how many customers living in each state? List the state and count of customer. Show the sort the list of vertically by state. First, we create a query, save and rename the query, J, okay, and customer only customer remove state, and we create library view count of customer count. We choose table customer state, okay, and we total it, and we choose expansion. For the state, we choose at the shop, we choose ascending, and we click run. Here it show the customer number for each state. Now we solve the query case. How much did each salesperson sales based on sales amount, list salesperson, and total amount? Short from largest total amount to smallest. First, we create the query table. They only involve sales, the salesperson, and amount. The amount we choose total, and we change it to sum. And the short we choose deciding and click run. Here is the salesperson and the sales amount. For the query I, how many units of each item was sold? This item ID, description, and total sold. Short the total sold in ascending order. First, we create a query table. The table involves inventory and sales inventory. The involved is item ID, description, and the quantity. The quantity we choose total to calculate, and for total we choose sum. and short we choose assembly and we click run. Here is the data, the answer.